Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Wine's World, and we're in my Christmas series at this point, and it's the second week of Advent. I was going to do a recipe for Kentucky eggnog, which my wife used to make every Christmas and New Year, which is quite wonderful, but I decided against it for a couple of reasons. One of them is because I don't have a recipe right now. I could recreate it, but I don't think I'm going to, because for the second reason, it uses a lot of raw eggs, and I'm okay with that, but I'm not sure that a recipe using a lot of raw eggs is tremendously healthy. So I'm going to pass on that, and instead I'm going to give you two other very important seasonal recipes, one from England and one from Argentina. I have two recipes on offer today. Originally I was just going to do sausage rolls. Sausage rolls, very important component of my traditional Christmas, and I've got that ready and I'm going to do that. But I was also just looking at old photos from Christmas in Argentina, and I came across something about facturas, which are pastries we have for breakfast in Argentina, including ones with membrillo, which is quince paste, which I really love, and that's the taste of Christmas for me, in part. And I was thinking also about facturas con dulce de leche, and I can't get dulce de leche here to save my life, but I do know how to make it. So I'm going to make dulce de leche, and I may make some facturas with dulce de leche after I've made it. I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to start here. And what you need to make it yourself is a tin of condensed milk. Now I went to the store and I got these two versions that I'm hoping will work, and the labels will probably come off, but I'm going to try to. Normally you would just take the label off when you start the cooking process. I'm leaving them on though because I want to see which one works best. But I've got a slight problem, because what I'm going to do, this is how it works. You put the tins in water more or less up to the rim, and you'll notice today is St. Nicholas Day. That's December 6th. This will air on Tuesday, but it's December 6th today. And I bought an induction plate, so that adds to my two burners. It's more controllable in a way. It's just an extra plate. So I'm going to be using this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil these cans, and I'm going to boil one for 2.5 hours, and I'm going to boil the other for 3.5 hours. And in theory, if all goes well, if it's actually proper milk in there, and it's what I'm used to, then the 2.5 hours will be golden colored, and the 3.5 hours will be deeper brown, more caramel. So what you're doing basically is caramelizing milk. That's what dulce de leche is. Dulce de leche means sweet milk. So that's the theory. I haven't done this for a long time. My mother used to do it. When she did it, she used to pierce the can to prevent it from exploding, I guess. I'm not going to do that. And what I'm going to do is halfway through, I'm going to turn them over so that they heat evenly top and bottom. Alright, so I'm not really familiar with the induction heater, but I'm going to get it boiling, simmering I guess, and I'll come back and I'll show you the process, and then we just have to let it sit and then let it sit. And when it's all done, then we'll go back to my original idea, sausage rolls, but I'll also make some facturas at the same time so that I have plenty of Christmas stuff. And then, because I got the idea of going back to my roots in Argentina, in future I'm going to make torrone, which is like nougat with lots of nuts, and pan dulce, which is called panettone in Italy. I used to be able to get it when I lived in Italy. So I'm going to experiment with those recipes too in the next couple of weeks as Advent progresses. Meanwhile, let's get working on this dulce de leche. So this is 2.5 hours later. The labels did boil off the cans, but I came to check on which one was which, and so I've taken one of them out, and this is 2.5 hours later. Maybe you can still hear the jiggling. That's the other one. It's going to stay in for another hour. My hope is that this one is going to be a kind of light golden dulce de leche, and the one that's still cooking will be darker. But I don't know, because I don't know the quality of these condensed milk cans, like which milk is going to work, if any. But I have to let it cool now. If I puncture this right now, it will spray everywhere. So I'm just going to let it cool. In fact, I'm going to leave it until the other one's finished, let it cool too, and then I'll open them together. So now I just took the second can out. It's been a little over 3.5 hours, and you might notice on the labels that the one on the left is called Best Cows, and the one on the right is called Best Milk. So I'm hopeful that they are actually milk, although they may be powdered milk and all kinds of other junk. Although it's been well over an hour, the can that I took out after 2.5 hours is still very hot to the touch. So I'm just going to let them sit here and cool, and then I'll come back when it's time to open them, when I hope we have dulce de leche. I'm ever hopeful, always have a hopeful spirit, but I have no idea. So I'll see you in several hours. All right, so they're both fairly cool. I wouldn't say cool. They're warm, but not too hot. And this is the Best Cows that I cooked for 2.5 hours. Let's see what's going on. It's exciting, although I'm aware that it's possible to be disappointed. It kind of looks promising. Let's see. Oh yes, it's a very rich caramel, in fact. I don't know if you can exactly pick that up. Yeah, there we go. Looks wonderful, and of course I'm gonna taste it. Mmm. Oh, the taste of home. Mmm. Well, that's 2.5 hours. Kind of an amber color. Now let's look at 3.5 hours. This is the best milk. Oh, it's a little bit darker. I think you can see that. Let's take. Oh, look at that. I want to go home. Delightful. Okay, well, so there is your simple answer to how to make dulce de leche at home. I'm gonna get out some bread and have a little treat, and then the next step is going to be making sausage rolls, and I'm also going to make some facturas with dulce de leche. The taste of Christmas. So now I'm going to turn my attention to sausage rolls, and they're really not complicated. You can see here I've got some puff pastry, and over off to the left I've got a little bit of sausage meat. This is Cambodian sausage meat. It's not like English sausage meat, which is kind of fatty and spicy and those kinds of things. This is okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the flaky pastry into strips, and then I'm going to wrap sausage meat in them and then bake them. Not complicated. I'm also going to make a few empanaditas with dulce de leche too, just to show you how they work. But let me get going on this. Let me just show you the sausage meat in a little more clarity. It's at my other workstation over here. There we can see it's kind of a roll, and it is a little bit spicy and a little bit fatty, but not quite like English sausage meat, but it will do. It's fine for Christmas. First step is to cut your sausage meat into fingers, as I did on my cutting board, as you saw, and they should all be about the same length. And then place one on your puff pastry and cut a long strip the same width as the sausage meat fingers. Place a finger on the flaky pastry, roll it up so it's completely rolled, cut, and then do that again and again and again and again until you have all the sausage rolls you want. Place on a baking tray, put in a preheated oven. Mine was preheated to about 300 degrees Celsius, and bake until golden. Simplicity itself. Now here's the finished product to eat, plated up, and I've added a couple of dipping sauces, which are not very traditional in England. We always had them plain, but I've got some spicy hot sauce and some HP sauce. I like them. And now I'll move on to my empanaditas with dulce de leche. This recipe is also simplicity itself. You can see that I've cut a circle of puff pastry and placed about a teaspoon or so of dulce de leche in the middle. Fold over to form a semicircle, crimp the edges tightly, place on a baking tray, and brush on a little bit of butter and sprinkle on a little bit of sugar, and then bake in a hot oven until golden brown. In this particular case, you can see that the dulce de leche did spill out a little bit in the baking process. No problem, just take them off and plate them and yum them down. So here's the finished product. Of course, quite delicious, and I wish I had some yerba mate. I've run out, and the pandemic has made it impossible for me to get more from abroad. But I'll have some with a little tea or ginger tea or something like that. And meanwhile, if you like this video, please tell your friends, please like and subscribe, and I'll be continuing my walk through the Christmas story on Friday.